I'm Lydia Blanco, digital and events editor at Black Enterprise, and today I have the honor and the privilege to speak with Carroll Fife, who is the San Francisco and Oakland director of ACE. Carroll, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You are more than welcome. You are someone who has been championing for change for quite some time, for decades. You're based in Oakland, but you are championing for Black people around the globe. Tell us more about the work that you're doing.
Oh, wow. There's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot of work that I'm doing, but basically, it really is building power for our people. And it comes in many forms. It comes through advocacy, it comes through like legislative change, passing policy, civil disobedience, direct action, whatever we need to do in order to create the things that we need in our community. My goal is for self determination. And I link up with folks who feel the same way. And really, it's about creating the things that we need in our lives to thrive. Because so often, I've just witnessed people in my community living on the streets, working low paying jobs, but two or three of them. We've become accustomed to believing that we need 10 hustles in order to survive. And I just believe that we are due more. I think we are all manifestations of a higher being, and then we should be able to live that type of life. And I want to help create that.
You are fighting for the lives of so many people, and you do it politically, right? You are very strategic about breaking down systemic oppression, speaking for those who are marginalized, and helping others find their voices. You're doing that as the founder of PAC here in the Bay Area. You are doing that through Moms for Housing, and I'm just naming a few, right, of the things that you are doing. Can you take us a little deeper into your work for those who may not know what those organizations or causes are?
Ooh, okay, where do I start? Okay, my day job. I'm the director of a nonprofit in Oakland. It is the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment, ACCE, and I work in Oakland and San Francisco, but primarily in Oakland. And it's a social, racial, and economic justice membership-based organization. So in that space, I just work to uplift the voices and make space for the voices of the most impacted people around the issues that they care about. So it can be anything from needing potholes filled or stop signs or illegal dumping collected, from housing, employment, uh, fair taxes, equal pay, the rights of hotel workers. We work in a lot of coalitions with people who are on the front lines, and some of the folks who are still working today who are putting their lives at risk. So my role is just to amplify or make space or bring the resources to the people so that they can fight for and champion the issues that are impacting their lives. That is my day job. That's about 10 hours or more a day. And I'm also the chair of the housing committee for the local Oakland NAACP. I'm the founder of Be Well, Black Women in Elected Leadership. We're doing our spring total body cleanse right now. I sit on the oversight committee for a local infrastructure and housing bond for the city of Oakland. I am a founding member of the Community Ready Corps. We're engaged in getting people PPEs, or the personal protective equipment for COVID, so hand sanitizers, masks, working in partnership with Terha. Um, gosh, I think I'm losing track. I am one of the core organizers for Moms for Housing. Um, I think that's mostly some of the things that stand out to me right now. It's a lot to do.
It is a lot to do, but you do it so well. You do it in collaboration with other women, other leaders who are really in the thick of activism, of organizing and policy. You know, you have shared what you're doing, but none of those things you are doing lightly, right? You have committed your life to fighting for community. A lot of people aren't really familiar with what is going on in the Bay Area on a constant basis. I think when people think about Oakland, they think about the Panthers or they think about other groups that have organized, but you have carried that baton. You are carrying that baton. What is it like being someone on the front lines, especially during this pandemic, organizing for change for your community?
Well, it is challenging for me personally as someone who would prefer to be in the background, as I have been for the majority of my adult life as an organizer and as an educator. I've been behind the scenes. And so this is definitely a challenge for me. So my goal, even as director of my organization, was to bring the organization into the forefront so people could really hear the stories of our members, because that's what it's about. It's not about me. And so I understand that in this country, we tend to prefer to see the charismatic leadership of individuals. But if we continue to lift up individuals, then we get wrapped around personalities. And that's not what it's about. My goal is to duplicate myself, number one, for my own sanity,
That's
and
good.
also because there's power in numbers. And if it's just me in front, then we've already lost. So my goal is to cultivate and to develop the leadership and the critical thinking skills and the analysis, not even to develop because it's in a lot of us it's there, but just make the space and give the platform for people to um, exercise what they know to be right, to lift up their experiences, and to create the strategic points that we can actually gain some wins and have some victories around the issues that we know are unjust. And yeah, right now we're at a key point in history. I think that the people, because the power is always with the people, if we seize the time, we can really see transformative change. And it is so desperately needed.
I agree with you 100%. Seizing this time is unprecedented. Everyone is saying it. Everyone's talking about how uncertain, how we've never seen times like this before. But it's also instilled a lot of fear in people from organizing and from remaining politically engaged. In your day-to-day work, how are you helping people to understand the importance of not only living in this time, but organizing so that when we come out of this time, we are on top or better positioned?
Um, I try to articulate to folks who say, and I hear this a lot, I don't deal with politics. I'm not political, but everything is political. I mean, just as Black women, our hair is political, our
Right.
skin is political, our bodies are political. So if you're not engaging and fighting for your personal power and for your community power, someone else is engaging on your behalf. And it usually ends up with situations that are not in our best interest. And I get it. It is really difficult. It's hard to know who to trust and who to engage and what to do, and to learn how to exercise your voice and utilize your personal power. But it is so necessary. And I've seen the benefits of when we come together collectively to do that,
Mm.
what it can yield. So it is imperative, especially right now, because while things are in flux, while things are chaotic, there are people that are organizing to be more oppressive and more just greedy, and every negative adjective you can think of about maintaining the power of a small group of people. Um, and we need to also think about, what future do we want to see? Do we want to see a future where people have access to healthcare and to food and housing? Or do we want to continue to work 2 and 3 jobs just to try to make ends meet? And in the Bay Area, where the housing wage is over $40 an hour, are we okay with that? And I say no. And because I believe that housing is a human right and foundational to every other human need, then that's my priority area of focus, is getting people off the streets and
Mm.
making sure that people have affordable access to housing.
I have to ask, what are the numbers for homelessness in the Bay Area? I know they're high in San Francisco, but I can't put my finger on the fact or the figure. Can you share those numbers so that you can help us put what homelessness in the Bay Area really looks like?
Well, every 2 years, our county does a point in time count where they count the number of folks. They send people out into the community to count the number of unsheltered folks there are living on our streets. And some experts say that the number is far below what actually represents the number of people that are living without shelter, because they don't count people that are couch surfing. They don't count people who are living in their cars. They don't count several populations that are invisible, which are a lot of times are families. So they estimate that it's between 4 and 6,000 people living on Oakland's streets every night. But once again, some argue that it's much higher than that. But what we do know is that the number that have been counted, 70% of those individuals are Black folks. And that, I believe, is directly connected to a history of housing discrimination, institutionalized racism, and policies that have barred Black folks from being able to access housing. So it needs to change. And one of the things that I've been working on recently in partnership with other leaders in my city is a new deal for Black folks. So we've worked on putting the language together for a set of demands that we expect to see, not just during this crisis, but post COVID-19, so
Right.
that we can really address the systems that have created these fissures in the first place. Because what we're seeing is not something that we don't know, it's just new. COVID-19 did not just break open just these new disparities. They've always existed, and they've been exacerbated by this current pandemic. So we want to create a new reality, and it is possible.
It is possible, and that is powerful. There are so many different factors, like you said, that have contributed to this issue prior to COVID 19. And in some ways, a lot of people are happy that these issues are more spotlighted, if you will. Like they've already existed, but now
Right.
people are paying attention to the real issues as it relates to the numbers, right? We talk about Black people being disproportionately impacted by COVID 19, but we had a number of pre existing conditions beyond health in this country. So I'm so glad that there will be a new deal. And I'm certain that people tuned in are looking forward to seeing what is going to come out of that. You know, as housing is one of your priorities, there's no way we cannot talk about Moms for Housing. You and a core group of women in Oakland are taking land. That is powerful, right? Claiming what belongs to the community, rightfully so, vacant properties, and housing people who need it the most. Tell us more about that, please.
Well, um, in Oakland, we found that through the use of the internet, we were able to do some research and find out just where some different vacant properties are. And a Mother Jones article highlighted that for every one unsheltered person in the city of Oakland, there are 4 vacant units that could be used for housing. So, because there was a deep need, and there continues to be a deep need in our community that disproportionately impacts Black bodies, we decided to do something about it. And so there was a lot of deep organizing that went into a group of mothers making a statement and engaging civil disobedience to say if there are empty units, there should not be one unsheltered person living on the streets. And when you condemn a child to a life of homelessness, that impacts their future and their ability to thrive, and their ability not only to thrive, but just exist and not recreate those same conditions. And I think it's important to say that there's not one city in the United States where you can earn minimum wage and afford the average 1 to 2 bedroom apartment. So there's something wrong with that equation. If you can't afford to support yourself off a minimum wage, then maybe the wages should increase. So maybe the base wages for the work that people are working should increase. So the moms got together, and we decided to make very public the what we call liberation of a vacant property that had been sitting dormant in the community for over 2 years. And so it was owned not by a person because people were very, very distraught initially that we went and took somebody's grandmama's house. And that was not the case.
Right.
The owner of this particular property is a multi-million-dollar speculator. And speculators are organizations that come into community, and this one in particular would buy in bulk 200 to 300 homes per month in order to flip them, putting them out of the reach of working mothers and families and indigenous communities who are, historically a part of these neighborhoods. So they're a gentrification machine, ultimately. And they make it impossible for the average individual to buy a house because you cannot compete with someone that's buying 300 homes cash on site. It actually makes it impossible for the average individual to buy a home.
Right.
And so, they have been guilty of engaging in a lot of illegal activity in communities throughout the country. They operate under scores of different names. They have a monopoly board on their wall at their office in Southern California, really highlighting the fact that their goal is to buy up property and make as much wealth for their donors as possible. And they don't look like us.
Right.
So they're a bad actor in our community, and they only buy in places that are, what do they call, distressed areas, which is a euphemism for Black communities, brown communities. So, we wanted to make a statement, and they were the perfect villain in this case. And we went up against some of the strongest, most well-resourced PR firms who were insistent upon labeling the moms as drug addicts and individuals with mental health issues. They pulled every stereotypical trope out of the woodwork to try to tear these women down. And ultimately, for this particular case and for the point of making housing a human right, in this David and Goliath story, we won. Yes. And we are continuing to make this a reality for not just the people in the city of Oakland, but around the world. This has enabled us to have conversations with mothers in the UK, with women in the Philippines, with folks in Spain, Ghana, all over the world. People are looking at this and saying, you know what? Yeah, we deserve more. We deserve to be able to shelter our families. And it's just been an amazing journey.
I've taken many deep breaths because it is incredible to know that you can put your mind to something. You can be, oh my goodness, I have to find the words. You can put your mind to something, right? You can believe in yourself, but when you take action, real change can happen. And the work that you and your core group of women are doing is setting a new standard globally for people to rise up and say, I deserve more, I want more, and you are going to give me more. Come in. I apologize. Everybody sheltering in place. This is my sister who just walked in. She works with SFUSD and took a mother grocery shopping. All right. Now she's turning off her motivation on YouTube. Thank you so much for your patience.
No worries.
Okay. Come on, Ashley. All right. 3, 2, 1. Change is contagious, right? And I don't know if contagious is the best word, but it permeates. Yes. And the work that you all are doing resonates with people around the world, which is truly inspiring. COVID-19 is real, housing discrimination, so many challenges we face are right in our faces, like they are here. I have to know, what is your charge to the world, but Black people especially, to remain politically engaged during this time. Elections are right around the corner. We have so many things that are at stake with the census and things on a local and, the government level or the local and state level. Tell us why people should remain engaged while they are sheltered in place.
Because we create our reality,
Mm.
right? There are so many forces that are set against us, if not intentionally, which they are, it's systemic, right? And so, in order for us to lead the lives that we want, the lives that we deserve, we have to be engaged in creating them. We are creative beings, and we give away our energy to so many different unfruitful places. So, it's important that we, in order to create what we want to see, what we want to manifest, that we are directly engaged in doing that. Otherwise, we give all of that to someone else. And I'm always like, don't be somebody else's Duracell. Don't be the power for somebody else's agenda. Because if you're not engaging your own energy, and if you're not directing that into the spaces that actually nourish and feed you, then somebody else is going to pull it from you and use it for their benefit. So I say it all the time. And Huey P. Newton, the chairman of the Black Panther Party, I'm in Oakland, so I got to give a shout out. It said that power is the ability to define phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. So my goal is for us to build collective power so we can create the future for our people that we are intended to live. And so we have to build that power. We have to connect. We have to work together. So my charge is to figure out, how do we work together to build real power, not for a few, but for all of our people, so that we can live beautiful, thriving lives that we deserve. And that's what I'm committed to doing for my babies, for my family, and for everybody else's family. And we are a part of a larger family, a rainbow of folks. And it is our job to ensure that Black folks are okay first. Because in order to have healthy coalitions and healthy relationships with everybody else, we have to be internally fortified. It's just like any personal relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody else and they're good, but you're not, there's going to be some toxic situations. So we gotta get our toxic stuff in order. We got to get our house in order.
Right.
And yeah, then we can be in better partnership with the rest of our family, and on equal footing, because there's a lot of inequity, and
Mm.
it is not anyone else's responsibility to fix us but us. So let's get to it.
That is so good. It is our responsibility to fix us. There are so many people who are eager and ready to get back outdoors and organize, and there are those who are building community online. Either way it goes, it is a lot of work, and the country, the world is not well. We are not in our best condition. What advice do you have for those who are on the front lines now and those who are eager to get back to it, to take care of themselves as they do the work, especially as we get through this pandemic and come out on the other side?
Um, at first, I want to just go back, because I don't want it to come across that I believe that Black folks are pathological.
Mm.
I think we are beautiful. I think we are creative. I think we are divine. I think there is so much going on in the divine nature of who we are, that I want to make sure that I lift that up. And then we also have some issues that we need to work out. So we can have both um, and so for folks on the front lines, take care of yourself. And right now, I know before we did shelter in place, I used to say, man, if I could just be at home, if I could just work from home, my life would be better. I could just chill a little more. And I found that now I'm just on Zoom every hour of the day.
Mm.
So find time, step away from the computer, rest your eyes, meditate, get in the sun, let your melanin get charged up by the sun, um, socially distance and be safe, but also don't don't just lose who you are. Find time to do something different. Write, sing, draw. Um, just be in your body and be okay with that. Do yoga. Find some time to get active. because right now we can craft our life almost in the ways that we want it to be. So take advantage of that. So recharge. It is a lot. Pace yourself. Um, Talk to people. You don't got to Zoom people all the time. Like, we can still make phone calls, y'all. Every phone call doesn't have to be a Zoom call, but definitely stay in contact with your people. Check in on folks. Um, there's a lot of things that we can do just to stay healthy and to stay positive. Read a book, right? I know I've often had difficulty in my life just running and ripping. I'm reading more. I'm doing things that I've wanted to do that I didn't have the time to do. So recreate yourself, recreate your reality, and yeah, just find time to stay in tune with the universe, because while things are really, really bad, the earth is also healing herself.
Mm.
The air is cleaner, the skies are bluer, the oceans are depolluting. The earth is healing. So we need to do the same thing. We need to mirror what's happening in our universe, because that's where we need to take our cues from. So sometimes I think, are people the virus? Because when we have taken a step back from our daily routines, we're seeing the environment completely turn around. So let's take our cues from Mother Earth and recharge and renew.
Well said. I am so grateful that you found time to sit down and share your wealth of knowledge and information with us. It is truly appreciated.
Thank you. And this was beautiful. I mean, you smile like sunshine. So this was beautiful for me too. I appreciate the opportunity.
You are so welcome. Please let people know how they can stay connected with you as you do the work you do. So much of it. Oh my goodness. Let people know how they can stay connected.
Well, our nonprofit website is ACE Institute, ACCE Institute.org. Our email address is oakland@calorganize.org. And folks can always hit me up on my Google Voice at 510-213-8298.
That is beautiful. A direct line as you do
Call
the
me,
and as you build.
text me.
As always, be sure to check out blackenterprise.com for the latest on what is going on in our community. Carroll Fife has been incredible. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to all the work that you are doing in your community and around the world.